Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have been advised that the Texans are on television beginning at 7:30. We had set out to have an hour-long program tonight. We're starting exactly at 6:30, so as we can get through exactly at 7:30. I have shown this slide here several times before about the hard to stop somebody if they keep on coming. Well, we are still in that situation. I had another thought about a story from the Bible about the poor widow. I guess she was poor, but she couldn't get what she thought was justice, so she kept coming back to the judge. And when I looked up that scripture and it came up on the NIV, it used the words kept coming. And I thought, this is just too good. I've got to show this particular scripture from Luke. So, you're all familiar with the saying about the Texas Rangers and keeping on coming. That theme of persistence, tenacity, is also found in the story about the widow. So, with that thought in mind, welcome everyone to this public meeting presented by Citizens Against the Landfill in Hempstead, the 12th such meeting that we've held since we started them in December 2012. I'm Bob Gage, and it's my privilege to MC the program this evening. We hope you'll find the information presented tonight both informative and helpful, and that it will inspire you, because we still have to keep hanging together to finish the battle, to cross the finish line. As always, we begin all of our meetings with an invocation asking God's presence and guidance on our activities. And for that end, this evening, our invocation will be by Deacon John Pelletier of St. Catherine Drexel here in Hempstead. Deacon John. You're a little taller than us.
Would you pray with me, please? Lord our God, creator of heaven and the earth, who has given us the land to be good stewards of, we thank you for being with us and for the recent encouraging results in our fight against the landfill. A landfill that would be so detrimental to the people and the businesses in Hempstead and, in fact, in Walworth County. But in spite of these recent victories, we realize that it's not time to rest on our laurels, because you know the battle is not yet won. You've been with us since the beginning of this fight. We ask you to stay with us and remain with us now. We pray to you for strength, grace, courage, and persistence, perseverance necessary to stay the course, to not become discouraged in the face of adversity or in the face of strong foes who would come against us, but to lift us up on your mighty wings to ultimate victory over those who would seek to blemish the land, your land, for their profit, so that they will not be able to do to us what they would not have done to themselves. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon John. As always, I want to thank the theater folks, Tina and Dave Fehrenbach, for allowing us to use their facility this evening. If you hadn't already hit the concession stand, please feel free to do so at any time. List of public officials. We always like to recognize these folks. I invited by email all the representatives from the cities, the county, and our state representatives, including our senator. Anybody here from Brookshire? Didn't have anybody checked in. Pattison, Pine Island, Mayor Ferris is here. Waller, Prairie View, Hempstead. There we are. I can't tell who that is.
John Ansel?
No, not city council.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I got you in a minute, John. This is their council meeting night. They started at 6 o'clock, so we hope that the mayor at least will be able to be over here and share a few words with us later, though that's not for sure. Walworth County. Now, Judge Duhon is here somewhere, Judge, and John Amsler, Commissioner Precinct 1, right there. I don't know whether anybody's here from Cecil Bell's, Representative Bell's office. I do know that probably nobody's here from Senator Colcart's office, but I did have a very nice note back to the effect that she was already committed somewhere for this evening. I thought it was nice that she sent that back. Now, things are really getting exciting for us here lately, but we need to remember that it ain't over till that fat lady sings. And I've showed this sign before. It's kind of fun. It's cutesy. It's the last cutesy thing you're going to see on the program tonight, because this is all real serious. Fat lady hadn't sung yet. The substances of the meeting is quite serious. Next slide, a little question and answer. Last time we had one of these meetings, where were we procedurally speaking? Well, we were still waiting on that contested case hearing to come around. We had been working on it for practically a year then. Remember, in summer of 2014, there were public meetings held by the SOA court judges over here in Hempstead. Well, things moved along, and doggone, the contested case never happened. There has been since then, since May, a whole lot of water gone under the bridge. Most of this meeting tonight will be dedicated to bringing you up to date on the many things that have happened and the status of some things that you probably hadn't thought of in a long time. Specifically, you will hear about, this is the agenda for the evening, legal status on a number of things, beginning with that contested case hearing and the SOA court's actions or inactions, leading to the thing that we all love, and that's the return by TCQ of the application. Other items that Bill Huntsinger will be bringing to us about what could happen. Next, a little speculation involved. What about the status of the property? Hope to have some comments from Judge Duhon, one of our co-protestants in many things. Perhaps the mayor will make it over also. Then we'll shift over to Mike McCall, treasurer of CAL, talk about finances and fundraising. And then we hope to get in some questions and answers from you. So as you listen to Bill and as you listen to Mike, if you have some questions in mind and you don't hear the answer, this will be your chance. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you the president of Citizens Against the Landfill in Hempstead, Bill Huntsinger.
Making too much noise, which I did. Thank you all for being here this evening. If you look at the slide, it talks about what was the purpose of CAL. Well, we were formed over 4 years ago, and at the first inkling, we thought we were fighting a landfill, despite Ernest Kaufman telling us there would never be a transfer station. We also found out shortly thereafter that there would be. So what happened from there? Well, for 4.5 years, we've been told that the landfill was a done deal, that the lobbyists, Pintail, and the TCQ were impossible to fight. We had no chance of winning. Well, maybe we weren't smart enough to recognize that, but I think it was just that we were so persistent and committed. We've stayed with it. And today, Pintail Municipal Solid Waste Application 2377 is a dead duck. As Bob mentioned, we were headed into SOA hearings, contested case hearing. We'd given depositions, taken depositions, done a lot of inquiries, and we're headed towards the actual contested issues that came up. One, we had a wonderful rain. I guess perhaps an answer to all of our prayers. And we were able to get onto the Pintail site. And surprisingly, to Pintail at least they say, the water table showed the PCometer readings were 5.5 feet higher on average. In fact, I think there's one picture that shows a geyser coming out of the ground. Pipes up about 2 feet above the ground and the water spewing 12 to 18 inches above that. So that was a great news for us. We made the TCQ aware of that. We'd also filed pleadings about spoliation. And it enumerated places where they had falsified information, misrepresented information. It's quite detailed. The SOA courts had all this information before them, but once the attorney for Pintail recognized what the piezometer readings told them, he made the statement that their application no longer complied with the TCEQ's requirements. That kind of left everything in jeopardy. We didn't know what was going to happen next. Well, what happened was that the SOA courts decided to remand the application back to the TCEQ for their decision and action. Again, we're saying, well, what's going to happen next? Are they going to let them revise this permit application, amend it, throw it out? What? So we're sitting here waiting, sweating. Well, the answer is the executive director decided to return the application to Pintail. He did it for a number of reasons. If you can flip that slide. Matches the application. And in this application, the executive director notes the number of deficiencies in the application, the man hours that they took having to review the Pintail application, and a number of other issues that he felt were improper and considerable technical deficiencies. I think there's another slide if you can flip it up.
I think Kelvin's the controller of the.
Oh,
I'm doing
okay.
the audio, he's doing the video.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. And it also goes on to say, we do not think the application amendment, an amended application is appropriate, and the only reasonable course available is to return the application to the applicant, return the application as deficient, pardon me. Well, now Pintail's got an application, it's been returned by the executive director, and we sit here and wonder, what's Pintail going to do next? Well, they had 23 days from October the 5th to file a motion to overturn the executive director's decision. That did not occur. They had 30 days from October the 5th to appeal it to the district court in Travis County. They did not do that. As of that date, all their options with the permit had been exhausted and the permit was dead. Thank goodness, after all these months and months. But Pintail's still out there. Right now, it's a case of let's wait and see what they do. We've got a number of issues we've got to address still. There's a transfer station. It's still on the books. We're waiting to see what the appeals court decides on the transfer station. No idea. Maybe it's within the first quarter of next year that they'll decide. We ask ourselves, what value does a transfer station have without a landfill? And I'm sure that's a question Pintail also has to ask themselves. On the transfer station, they faced a lot of the issues, the notice of deficiencies, registration versus a permit, because it was really confusing under the ordinances and provisions of the TCEQ and the Health and Safety Code what could or could not be done. If it's a transfer station, that means material in, material back out to another location. When you're taking part of it out, that's really recycling, and it's a different animal. So we'll wait to see what they say. The next thing, if we can select forward to it, is lawsuits against the TCEQ in Travis County. We filed a lawsuit in Travis County protesting the actions taken by the TCEQ in processing the Pintail application. That's just been sitting on hold till the TCEQ did take action on the permit. At this point, with the permit being dead, there's no reason to continue that. So we've sent a notice to the court asking them to dismiss that lawsuit. If we take any action about it, it has to be about a new landfill application. That's history again. We flip that. Appeal of the Waller County case. This is the citizens against the landfill in Hempstead versus Waller County and the Pintail Landfill LLC. Basically, it's waiting for the court to, well, that's the dismiss the court case. We've already covered that. Pardon me. Oh, appeal of the Waller County case. And that's waiting for the court to take action on the request of Judge Beckendorf, Commissioner Precluda, and Commissioner Kitzman. They alleged in their lawsuit that they weren't aware of the actions taken by the county and the settlement agreement, that they'd had no notice of it and that they should not be a party to that. They filed pleadings with the court. We filed motions to dismiss. The Judge Beckendorf, Precluda, and Kitzman filed their pleadings with the court. When they filed those pleadings, which were delayed, we then asked the judge in the appeals court to delay the requirement for us to file our pleadings until they'd ruled on our motions to dismiss. The judge has granted that request, so again, we're waiting for the judge to make the determination on the motion to dismiss. What could happen next? Well, Pintail doesn't have an application. They were recently on site doing some borings, episiometry wells, adjacent to some other wells. They're drilling in the middle lower depth. We don't know what that means. But we do know this, that they still have a purchase sale agreement with Marengo Trust. That agreement goes through April the 29th of 2016. At that time, they would have to have renewed that or extended that purchase sale agreement option. We don't know whether they'll do it, but we do know this, that there are a great number of hurdles that Pintail has to overcome if they should ever choose to attempt a new application. There's the City of Hempstead ordinance, the Waller County ordinance 2011, a number of the technical deficiency issues still remain. The water table's still a problem. Clay on the site's still a problem. So we're in a wait and see mode right now. And we'll find out what happens, but we've got to be patient. Our position, though, is that we're going to be vigilant and prepared for whatever actions they may take. We just got to wait to see what actions they do take. And I guess something that needs to be said is that CALH's not been alone in this fight. We've had the great help of Waller County and the City of Hempstead in this battle. We've had the help of each and every one of you. Without you and others, we would never have made it this far, and we thank you very much. You are the reason for our success. A success that everybody said could never happen, and we really appreciate your efforts all through these 4.5 years. And now we have the privilege of hearing from Judge Trey Duhon.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to keep this very brief. Obviously, from the county standpoint, we're ecstatic when TCEQ made the decision to return the application. Wayne, you're going to distract me. we were ecstatic. I just gave a State of the County speech at the Waller County EDP luncheon, and this was one of the highlights of that speech, was the fact that that application has been returned. And I made sure that everybody understood that had it not been for the efforts of CAL and the city of Hempstead, that today we would be building a landfill under the water table, just north of Hempstead, that would be presenting a serious threat to Hempstead's water supply. But thankfully to you guys, thanks to CAL, thanks to the leadership of CAL, thanks to Mayor Wolf, city of Hempstead, y'all have fought, and y'all would not give up. And as a result, that application got returned. And from what I understand, it's the first time ever that an application's been returned by the TCEQ. I think Billy Frazier told me that. I don't know if that's correct. Do y'all know if that's right?
There may have been one in
41 years.
In 41 years?
41 years is the first time it's ever been done.
And we did it. We did it. I mean, that's, we made history, and I was glad, I was glad to be a part of it. I was glad to have the opportunity, along with Commissioner Amsler and the rest of the commissioners, to right the ship and get on the right side of this thing. It took a little bit, but once we got in there, we were able to get it done, and we've been alongside with you guys, and I anticipate we're going to continue to be there. I agree with the assessment. We need to make sure, I still think there's something else they've got up their sleeve, but Waller County is going to continue to be vigilant. We still have a lot of work to do. Just because this landfill may not be constructed doesn't mean that our work is done. I'm going to need a lot of help. We need to do some planning in this county. We need to really sit down and have some very serious conversations about waste management. I just did my very first grant application to the HGAC. I don't think it's going to be successful, but I was asking for grant money to do waste management planning in Waller County. And this was the reason, when it came to the reason why we need this whole case was the reason I cited. Was that, even through all of this that's happened today, people still can't say where geographically or environmentally you could or could not even put a landfill in Waller County today. And we have to be able to know these kind of things so that we can sit down and have an intelligent conversation about it. We are growing. We're going to continue to grow. And maybe at the end of the day, we decide geographically, maybe the way we're situated, there's not going to be a good place for a landfill in Waller County. And if that's the case, and that's fine, we just need to have that conversation, because we also need to have an understanding that what we produce will have to be transported somewhere else, and there will be a cost to that. And that's fine, there's other options. But we have to do the science, we have to get somebody to come in and help us with the studies, and we're trying to do that. And I hope when it comes to that all of you will be willing to help and participate. Whether it's focus groups or whatever else we need, we're going to need the input of a lot of folks. So we're still there. We will continue to be there. I'm glad we were a part of this victory. It's an historic victory, and you all should be very proud of yourselves. So if there's anything I can do, let me know, and we'll be right there with you guys. Thanks.
Made real briefly, is Mayor Wolf available? When he and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, he knew that it was going to be iffy that he would be able to make it over here, so I just wanted to check and see if he was here or not. Mike McCall is treasurer of CAL, and again, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce Mike.
Thank you, Bob. It's good to see everybody here tonight. My presentation is going to be shorter than Bill's, so we may get out here extra early, but we do want to take time to answer your questions when we're through. And so be working and thinking about that in the process. We talked about how long is this going to continue. I don't know that any of us envisioned that we'd be in it for 4.5 years, even at this point, but we still have, as Bill's pointed out, some work to do, some issues that we need to deal with, and we need to be able to be prepared for those. And so our thinking about it is until the Pintail people have gone home and the last bill is paid, we will continue this fight. And that means we have obligations to lawyers. We've had a significant amount of activity related to an engineering firm out of Austin that have been contracted through the attorneys that have done a fabulous job, and as well as our lawyers. And those of you that had an opportunity to attend the trial that we had in Waller County last December, and saw the work of our trial attorney, Blair Pena, you know that we were really well represented in that process. We've been very fortunate to have some incredibly talented people involved in helping us in this effort. So we're happy about it. We're happy with the way it's gone. We're not alone in this struggle. It's important to know that we have a Facebook page that has, what's the latest count? 1,200, 1,400 friends on Facebook, something like that. And those people come from all over the world. Now we have friends on Facebook from all over, literally all over the world, that are participating and watching what's going on here. And we've had financial support from several different places. But it's important to note that we're not just fighting this alone here in Waller County. And so we need to keep that in mind. We have a couple of situations that we've had, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. For instance, I'll give you a couple of examples. One is there's another organization that was formed about 12 or 14, 15 years ago. It was involved in another landfill fight in Texas, and they were part of the south of us. And their fight ended about 10 years ago. I guess somewhere around 10 years ago. And they had a 501c3 non-profit organization. They were successfully, they didn't do what we did. They were not able to get the application returned, but the applicant withdrew their application in their case. And by the way, that's happened, when we talked about not happening in the last 41 years, the database that was checked, this is the first time anybody's ever, that the executive director has returned somebody's application. There have been cases when people had their application, requested that their application be returned, and they've withdrawn their application. But to have one returned like the executive director did in this case, has never happened in 41 years. But the example that I was telling you about was this other organization. They had an application that was withdrawn at the 12th hour. They had a significant fight, a lot of work involved in get it to the point. But one day, out of the blue, I get a check in the mail for Cal's P.O. Box for $4,207.05. And it's a cashier's check drawn on a bank that I didn't know anything about. And so I kept scratching my head trying to figure out, where's this from? Is this a good check? Is this a good check? So I took it to our bank and asked the people over there to call that bank and ask them, is this a good check? Is this money good? And they called them and checked it and said, sure enough, it's a good cashier's check. And cashed that thing, or deposit it. So that's what we did. We put it in the bank. And we've come to find out this organization had fought their landfill and had $4,207.05 left, looking for an opportunity to support another organization that was in a similar fight to theirs. And the result was that they sent us this money and said, use it to your advantage to fight the landfill at Hempstead. So it's a tremendous thing to have happen, and we need to all take pride in that, because it's not just every day that you have somebody who witnesses that type of thing happening. And I hope that if we get to that same point, we have the same obligation that any money we have left in this account has to go to a charity. And we will look for a similar opportunity to benefit some other organization, Lord willing, that we even have some money left over when we're through. Another situation we've had is there's a man in Alabama who happens to have some land here in Texas. And he got wind of our fight, and he had an interest, contacted us, wanted to know what to do. And periodically he sent us $1,000 along the way just to help. He was a retired Veterans Administration psychologist. and very interested in our efforts here. And so he, as well, has been sending us money from time to time to help in this battle. So I make that point to say that we're not in this alone. We've had significant help in the process of getting here. The money has come from far and wide, and we need to be proud of that going forward. We are participants in a couple of things I want you to know about. One is we've taken advantage of the Amazon Smiles program, which Amazon, if you ever order anything on there and you're a member of their program, they make contributions to charity, and they will take a certain percentage of like 1 or 1.5% of the revenue from anything they get, any sales that they have, and they will buy something on Amazon and you become part of their Amazon Smiles program, they will send us money. Also, the Kroger's has a similar type of thing. If you, when you buy things at Kroger's, if you notify the cashier that you make contributions to support of Citizens Against the Landfill in Hempstead, that we're registered with them, they can also send us money. And recently, Lily Ruby sent me an email saying that Walmart has a similar type program, and we need to work on getting enlisted with that, and we will in the future. Next item is just an update on finances quickly. We have spent, I'm talking about money, cash checks written, $1,673,197 in 4 years and 4 months, 5 months in this process. Checks to legal fees have been $1,200,000, something of that. And the rest of it is spread out about other things that we've had costs related to advertising, sales taxes. I mean, we have to pay sales tax on most of our garage sale receipts, but advertising, just all kinds of things. But basically, it's important for you to know that we've spent that, and we owe about $91,000 right now for legal fees for the month of July and August. But actually, those fees are going way down. We don't expect to have much in the way of September fees because of this slowdown in activity related to the contested case hearing has been put on hold, and so we expect everything to kind of slow down. And we have about $26,000 in the bank. So going toward the end of the year, we want to try to do some things, to try to do some fundraising to try to be able to pick up and try to meet these obligations that we have, and keep the attorneys paid. You know that we have basically 3 sources of funding as it relates to the organization. And the first one is garage sales. And I want to announce tonight that the November sale that we just had, that was completed this last weekend, that number is now wrong because I was just handed a check for $150 on a garage sale item that happened. So it gets counted to be a $17,150.41. This is the most successful garage sale we've ever had, and generated more revenue than any of them we've ever had, and it was phenomenal, the amount of people, the enthusiasm in the organization, the people that came in support of it. It's just a tremendous thing to watch. And if you haven't been out to the garage sale, it's a community event, one which I encourage you to attend. I think this was our 30th event, and 31st event, our garage sale will be next month on December 11th and 12th. And we encourage you to put that on your calendar and to come and participate. And we always need donations of items for the garage sale. It's amazing to go out there Friday morning when we start, how many items are there, how much is there, how much people have worked to get it all cleaned up and get it in a presentation where people are encouraged to come in. And then you go and find out that, man, we really sold a lot of merchandise and we need to replenish. So keep us in mind if you're cleaning out and have something that you need to go to a garage sale. We'd be glad to take a look at it and get it going here. This is our 30th one. Garage sales have generated about $350,000 in revenue. Yes, Bob?
Mike, it's been pointed out, not to me, but to others, people are going to miss this garage sale when we're through, ultimately. But they love it. And it was described as the Neiman Marcus of garage sales.
I heard you were just going to stand out there in the corner waiting after it was over.
No.
It has been extremely successful, and we encourage you to participate if you can. Next item I want to continue on is we Stand United, number 3, the last big fundraiser we had on July the 25th. That one generated net revenue $116,000. That's net, and that's after a significant amount of donations. That's an incredible result of a tremendous amount of hard work from the people who donated items for the live auction and the silent auction to those people who worked on it so hard to get it to happen. You know, that included in those fundraisers like that one, which we've had 3 of them. This is our 3rd one. And this one was, as far as successful, it was in the middle of the ones as far as the total revenue generated, net revenue generated. But, you know, we have a live auction with it. We have a silent auction. This time we had a bucket raffle, and we have a ribeye dinner. So it's a full package evening with a live band performing, and it was extremely successful. And again, the community needs to be thanked. I don't remember, about 500 and some odd people attended that event. And tonight I'm here to announce that we're going to have a New Year's Eve party. We're going to have a New Year's Eve dinner and dance. We haven't signed the contract yet on the band yet, so I can't say for sure about that. Sherry, do you have anything to relate?
I have the contract.
You have the contract? Okay, this is the tribute band, right?
It's the tribute to George Strait with Derek Spence with the Chris Brady Band.
Okay. It's going to be a big evening, and we encourage you. Everybody loves George Strait music. It's great music to dance to, and we encourage everybody to put that on their calendar. We understand that there's not a lot of events like that in Waller County, and we need to encourage it, so I encourage you to put that on your calendar and come out and participate. That'll be a prime rib dinner with all the fixins, as we say in Texas, all the fixins, and champagne toast at midnight, and we want to encourage everybody to participate in that process and that event. And then, as far as donations, just to remind everybody that we have some people that they come to the garage sales, and they come and they make $100 donations with every garage sale. And because I process those and I send them a letter, acknowledgement letter, every time somebody does that. And it's gratifying when you see you have a garage sale, you have donations come in, it's $100 from this party, and it's $100 from that party. It is significant in the effort that it has. When you look at overall the money that we've generated in this process of that $1,697,000 that we've spent, a significant amount, probably close to $500,000 of it, relates to straight up donations from people, and it's just encouraging to see the community response to that. I want to remind everybody that we are a 501c3 organization. That means we're tax exempt for federal income tax purposes on any donations you make to us. And so it's, again, remember that until the last bill is paid, we've got to continue this fundraising effort. Also, let's see, cash and stock donations. We've also had a number of people who made stock donations to the organization. And because of the appreciated value of some stocks, especially recently, what people have been able to do is when you donate an appreciated value stock, you get to deduct the amount of the value of what it's appreciated to, not what your original cost was. So there's a significant advantage to doing that. And we encourage people to participate in that process. Also, we have some people that have contributed, and then they have corporate matching funds, where their corporations that they work for have a matching fund program. Either 50%, 100%, or 200% of donations. And so we encourage you, if you have that option, to please avail the opportunity to help us out with that. And so, but anyway, for all of those that have made monetary donations in labor and time and effort, at one time we estimated 200,000 hours worth of time has been devoted to this effort, and it's a significant process. So, we just want to encourage you to participate every way you can. None of us chose this battle. The battle came to the people of Waller County, and we responded. We've had conversations with our lawyers who told us that they've seen a lot of situations like this where people get enthused at first, and then they start getting demands for money and how to pay the legal fees and so on, and support just dries up. We haven't done that in Waller County. We need to take great pride in that process, and the fact that we've stayed the course in this process. And our secret weapons. Wayne Knox sent me something, and a quote the other day that I thought was appropriate. It talks about secret weapons. What are our secret weapons? And I think they are patience and perseverance. And those have paid off in a big way. John Quincy Adams, a quote, which I thought was very apropos, that Wayne sent to me: patience and perseverance have a magical effect before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had perseverance and we've had patience, and they've paid off for us today. So the race is not over, the battle's not completely won, but we are making progress, and we want to continue the course. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Go wet your whistle right quick and then come back up. Bill, where'd you go? We are now coming in on our question and answer period. These fellows did an excellent job of presenting what they had to say in a thorough manner, but there may be some question that some of you have, and this is your chance. Texans don't start for another 17 minutes, so we will shut down before 7:30, but please. Doing great.
Is anyone going to pursue the, I guess they have a lease or an option to buy that land. Is anyone going to pursue buying the Randy Ranch land?
Who wants that one, Bill?
Yes, we have contemplated having conversations with the Marango Family Trust. We're aware that several people, two parties, have made offers to them without response, and we'll just kind of play that by ear. We will follow up to see whether there is an opportunity for that. A lot of what happens will be determined by Pintail and what the how the Marango Family Trust perceives the return of the application to Pintail. Mike?
Just one thing, in the option agreement, any offer that's made, anybody that comes in and makes an offer, Pintail has 60 days, as I recall, to respond. They have 60 days in which to respond to that offer, if it's a legitimate offer. And it hasn't even been 60 days since I think one of those offers was made, so we don't know. We have no idea where it stands right now. There could be somebody, it could be an action being taken place, we just don't know.
Just one other thing. As much as we're in a situation, Pintail's got to be deciding whether they're going to renew that purchase option agreement. They've had it for going on 5 years as of April the 29th. I'm sure the Marango Family Trust will probably have expectations for what they should receive if they were to extend that option agreement.
Other questions?
You have good.
Gronkowski?
Do you have the number for Kroger? Do you have the number?
I don't have that with me.
Because I tried and they couldn't find it.
Really?
Yes.
I'll try to find some information on that and get it for you. We'll get it posted on our Stop Highway 6 landfill. Yes, sir.
Do we know what it costs Pintail to renew?
We have no idea. The option agreement ends in 5 years, and at that point, we don't know. If they want to renegotiate an extension of that option agreement, they're going to have to talk to the landowner, and they're going to have to start from scratch, I guess. The way I read the agreement, they have the way it's set up is it's a $5 million purchase deal, and then it calls for periodic payment of option payments. First rattle out of the box was like $400,000, and the second thing with tier was like $350,000, and that all happened within like 60 days of having the original contract. And then it called for the first 3 years for them to pay $5,000 a month on that agreement, and that all counts against the $9 million purchase price. And then after 3 years, the first option year kicks in. It calls for a payment of $250,000, and then the payments go to $7,500 a month for 12 months, and then at the end of the 4th year, if they still haven't purchased the land, then paying the balance of the $9 million, then it kicks in for the 5th year, which is $10,000 a month and a $250,000 payment. All of those payments made are non-refundable. So that, you know, Pintail stands, so that's part of the cost Pintail's got right now, and they've got to consider whether or not they can, you know, what they want to do about walking away from that. Because, you know, we don't have any idea. We know they got a lot of money invested in this project. But is it a suitable place for a landfill? I think we've proven that it's not a suitable place for a landfill. So we're in the dark right now. What's going to happen next?
They've infuriated TCQ and embarrassed them through the process too. So starting over is going to be a problem.
I can't hear you, Richard.
I said, in the process of doing this, they have embarrassed and infuriated TCQ, so starting over, even with a clean application, is going to be tricky.
Yeah, TCQ is by that letter, you can see they're not very happy with the process, and I don't know how you make them happy again and submit another application. But again, we don't know. We just don't know. There's no way to know about where it's going to go from here.
With the city of Hempstead annexing a lot of the land around the ranch, what is that status? Does that make the ranch still viable to have it, or is there an exclusionary zone?
The city of Hempstead has a setback ordinance, right? That's a term. It's a setback ordinance that says that there's certain setbacks that have to take place within the boundaries of the city and its ETJ, which the ETJ of the city extends 1 mile past its boundary. And that encompasses probably like 5/8 of the entire 723-acre tract, something of that nature. And so a significant, like 90% of the land area that was on the proposed Pintail landfill site is within that city ordinance. And now that that permit's been thrown out, that application's been thrown out, and if they submit another one, then they have to meet the conditions of that city of Hempstead ordinance. And that means, for instance, there can't be a landfill within 5,280 feet of a front door, and other setbacks that have to be met. So, but there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of, we don't know the legality of some of the things that are out there and what they may try to do. Pintail's got sharp lawyers too, and so we're prayerful that we've stopped them, but we're certainly not doing a victory dance, and we're not landing on any aircraft for carriers and declaring victory yet. Yes, sir.
Is anybody going to jail over this? Beg your pardon? Is anybody going to jail over this? Or why not?
I'm not visiting there to see anybody, but I don't know. I really don't know if anybody's going to jail on it. I don't know. We don't know anything about that yet. It's a good question, though. One we've all contemplated.
There's a difference between should and will.
Yeah, that's kind of the question I had. Is that when you're talking about the motion to dismiss with the Waller County, you're talking about Beckendorf and Kitzman and those guys wanting to dismiss the court case that we have against them? Is that what that was?
Well,
who's trying to dismiss it and why, I guess?
Well, what happened was, I'll give you a long and short of it. Trey, you want to talk about that?
Sure.
Okay, so as you know, at the beginning of this year, one of the first things we started to do after I was sworn in is we started the task of trying to settle the landfill litigation. And when I refer to landfill litigation, there was a lawsuit that got filed against the county, and also at one point it did name Beckendorf and Pecluda and Judge Beckendorf for violations of Open Meetings Act and violations of Public Information Act. Okay, there's a jury trial. There was a finding that there were violations, and then the judge had held off on determining what the damages were going to be. So that's when we got in there. The first thing we did is we set upon the task of, I wanted to put a dollar amount on this so that, you know, because the exposure was larger than what we settled for. So we settled that case. So now Pecluda, Beckendorf, and Kitzman have filed an appeal trying to undo our settlement. And for the life of us, here's the thing that's funny about it is, I don't know of anybody. I've talked to, of course, Elton Mathis, his whole staff, all the attorneys, Blair Pittman, you name them. Nobody quite understands how they even have the standing to file the appeal, because they are no longer have any capacity on behalf of Waller County. And so they've kept, you know, they filed this appeal. They keep extending the deadlines. They kept asking for more and more time. The appeal was filed by an attorney out of Katy. And if you, I can't recall his name off the top of my head if anybody else remembers it, but
David Carp.
Cart. David, is it David Cart? David Cart. Well, if you look at his background, he's kind of just a business, he does business law. Like, this is not something that would be his area of expertise. And in all honesty, if you look at this work product, I would have to agree his work product reflects that. They finally filed a brief, and the brief seems to basically fail on its face. I mean, it's inconsistent. There's inconsistencies throughout. That's why we basically have gone in and asked the Court of Appeals, and we basically, what we did is we went to the Court of Appeals and we said, look, before we have to file a brief in response and spend a lot of time and money, please just look at their brief. Look at their brief, and on its face, it fails. They do not have the standing to assert any claims saying that they weren't aware of the settlement, which, I mean, we had town halls all over the county talking about the settlement and the possibility. So, and in fact, they were at the town halls. We have video of them. Billy Frazier's got video of them at the town halls. So there's no way that they can claim that they didn't have any knowledge, but nevertheless, they still don't have capacity. And luckily, the Court of Appeals has granted that request. They've said, yes, okay, you don't have to file a brief. We're going to look at this first. And so, cross your fingers. Hopefully the Court of Appeals will dismiss their appeal. And then I'm hoping, you know, to the extent possible, you know, I've already instructed Elton Mathis, if there are fees to be recovered, I want them to be recovered.
Amen. Thank you.
So,
I just want to add one thing. What's very interesting about this is they asked for several extensions, and the last extension the court had allowed them was for October the 12th. I remember very well. October the 12th was their deadline to file their brief. Their brief was filed at 12:46, October 13th. And so they filed the brief, and before October 13th was out, they filed, and by the way, the appeals court told them that that was their last date, their last deadline, October 12th. Before October 13th was out, they asked for an appeal for an extension of 46 minutes to get that thing allowed within there, because, you know, they couldn't even get it filed on the date, which is their dead date. So it was just bizarre.
If anybody's got a yes or no question, we have just about time enough for that. Seeing no hands frantically waving, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, many hands make light work, especially at garage sales. Nobody's as smart as all of us. Nobody's as strong as all of us put together. Please, when you have opportunity, please try to donate. We do still have some bills that we know that we will have to pay. We're not quite sure how much is left beyond that we can't put a number on yet. Best of all, participate in the remaining activities. Even better yet, volunteer to do something. There are still things yet to be done that consistently will need to be done. In football teams, terms, it does seem like we're late in the fourth quarter. We're not going to overtime, I don't think, but we're late in the fourth quarter, but the game's not over until all four quarters have been fully played. let's pray that we don't have to go into overtime. Speaking of prayer, we will now be dismissed. Brother Fred Thomas from Greater St. Peter's Missionary Baptist Church. I did make it back from Waco doing the Lord's work up there during the day today. Brother Fred, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the benediction of Brother Fred?
Father, we are grateful for all that has transpired in this place this night. We thank you for all that you do and all that you have done. Now we are about to leave this place, but never ever from your presence. Take us home safely, return us at the appointed time. Now unto him that is able to keep us from falling, present us faultless before his presence, the only wise God, with majesty, dominion, and power forever. Let us all say, thank God.
Thank God.
Amen. You may be excused.
Thank you, Brother Fred. If any of you do have any other questions, please come on down. We will, while we got Bill and Mike here and Trey, we will get you some answers. Thank you. You are dismissed.